Story time of me getting into a fight and then going to school with the black eye the next day. To this day, I still can't believe I fought somebody. Bueno, empecemos. So the year was, I think it was like 2014 maybe? Yeah, for sure it was 2014 because I just started my freshman year and I had just been a freshman for like 2 weeks, literally. And I remember that very specific day, I was wearing new Jordans and a new backpack and a new outfit. I was looking fresh. I also had like 3 textbooks in my mochila and then my laptop, of course. Anyways, the bell for school rings and it had just ended and I started walking home. I remember being with 2 very close, good friends, or so I thought. My 2 really good friends was one boy and one girl. We are gonna call him and her Jeff and Jennifer. So the 3 of us started walking home. We almost had like the same route when all of a sudden the bitch that I got into a fight with appears in the back of us. We are gonna call this Stacy. This had not been the first time that Stacy had followed me home and pretty much bullied me. The last time that she had followed me home, she was with her little group of friends and I kid you not, the whole way they were throwing rocks at me. I kid you not. And what was I gonna do? Nothing, because it was just me against 3 of them. And personally, I'm not somebody that resolves conflict with physical fighting. Like, that's stupid. I'd rather just talk it out. But that's me. Me and my friends decided to stop at this gas station and get some snack, get some sodas. You know, it's after school, so obviously you get the munchies. We pay, we get out of the store. And when I tell you, I literally felt like a paparazzi because there was a big crowd. It literally seemed like the whole school was outside waiting for me. I guess Stacy had told the whole school that we were gonna get into a fight. Shit, like nobody told me. Meanwhile, Jeff and Jennifer were telling me, no, you know what? Let's just stay inside the store and we'll call your mom. And at that time, I didn't have a phone. So I couldn't call my mom. And me, being a chingona and stupid, I started walking towards her and towards the crowd. And I said to Jeff and Jennifer, no, I'm gonna walk home. You literally get to know who your real friends are when you're in a situation like that. But anyways, head to part 2 to see what happens next. Storytime part 2 of the time I got into a fight and went to school the next day with the black eye. I've never gotten into a fight, so it was so like unreal to me that I would get into a fight. Once I started getting closer to Stacy and the crowd waiting for me, Stacy walked towards me and she's like, so you're talking shit. And I'm like, I don't even know why you're mad at me. And seriously, to this day, I don't even know why she hated me. Probably because the coach replaced her with me as pitcher in softball in middle school. Anyway, I was not gonna give the first punch. But what I did do, and not intentionally, so I had my soda in my hand, and I guess she thought that I was gonna hit her or throw my soda at her. And so she went back and then she went boom. And me being my first fight, she definitely caught me off guard. But that was the only punch she was able to give me. Just because she caught me off guard, okay? Then she yanked me by the greñas and I swear like she would not let me go. And after that, I had neck problems. Yeah, like she was pulling really hard. Anyways, I kind of overheard somebody ask Jennifer, aren't you gonna help her? And she just stayed quiet. And Jeff and Jennifer were just looking. I was so sad because Jennifer had been my best friend for so long. And if it would have been the other way around, I would have definitely gotten in and helped her. That's why I tell you, you don't know who your real friends are until you come across a tough situation. Anyways, we probably fought for like about 10 minutes. To me, it really did seem like a long time and nobody was stopping it until a car stopped in the middle of the road because we were literally in the middle of the road fighting and cars were just going through and going around us too. These 2 ladies came out of the car and they were just like, why aren't you guys helping? Like, stop this, everybody go home, stop recording. And that was literally the only way that the fight stopped. These 2 ladies started helping me and they were just like, can we call somebody? Can we call your mom? And I called my mom. I was definitely crying and I was mad and I was just like, Mom, I just got in a fight. My mom was not mad at all. She was just kind of glad that I knew how to defend myself. Anyways, I woke up the next day with a sore neck and a black bruised eye. And I still went to school like that. But yeah, that day I learned that I didn't really have any real friends and that I am willing to fight somebody.
This man almost unalived me on our date. Take a seat, because this is a wild ride. The first red flag, I don't like when men pick me up on the first date because 1, I don't want you to know where I live, and 2, I want to be able to leave when I want. I don't want to feel trapped. I go to dinner and actually everything about the date is great. It's after the date where it just gets progressively downhill from there. We're walking back to his car and he's like, do you want to drive down Rodeo? How far do you think it is? And I'm like, it's past my. I actually say yes, but I also never actually say no. And so we get in the car and he starts driving. He starts driving in the opposite direction of both my apartment and Rodeo Drive. And I'm like, oh, actually it's that way. And he's like, oh, I know, I want to go this way. Exact reason why I do not like men driving me on the first date. So he's driving and he proceeds to put his address into the GPS. And I'm like, am I being kidnapped right now? So he's like, do you want to go to my place and watch a movie? Like, oh, actually I have to be up really early in the morning. And he's like, oh, it's okay, I'll have you back by midnight. Okay, not like I have a choice right now. I'm not gonna jump out of a moving car. We're already headed there, so whatever. This man is driving like the cops are after him. He zooming, the light is red before we get into the intersection, and he's like, yeah, I just don't like waiting. And I'm like, I love waiting. I love waiting at red lights. It's fun. Anyway, somehow we make it to his house in one piece. It's this great big mansion in the hills. Yeah, whatever, very impressive. He's showing me around and we get to the theater and I'm like, oh, we're here to watch a movie. So I sit down. I don't need to see the rest of the house. I don't need to see any bedrooms or anything. I found the theater, that's what we're here. So we start watching the movie and I'm cold and uncomfortable. So I'm like, all right, let me grab a blanket and recline because I'm gonna be here a while. Might as well be. He goes to make popcorn and I grab a blanket and I get comfortable and I make sure I'm laying down so where there's no room for him to come snuggle up next to me. And once the movie's over, I get right up and I'm like, okay, let's go, gotta go. So we get in the car and mind you, he lives in the hills and coming down the hill, it's so windy and narrow roads. He is going 80, just zooming through these roads back and forth. And I am so scared. I'm like, oh my God, this car is gonna tip over. Like this car is gonna freaking flip over. But it was so scary in that moment. And then he decides to grab my hand and hold it. And then he's also like picking a song. And you're probably wondering like, hey, wait, what hands are on the wheel? None. He is going 120 on the freeway. One hand is holding mine, and the other hand is on his phone, is holding the phone, and one knee is steering the car. Lord, please. I'm still frozen. I can't even say anything. I can't even move. I can't even text my mom like, hey, this is my last hour. All the while, he's like, holding my hand, what type of music are you into? My address is in the GPS, so I'm like, eyes dead set on it because I can't look at him almost hitting all these other cars that he's swerving through. So I'm like, okay, 9 minutes left, 8 minutes left. He missed the exit, 13 minutes left. He really missed the exit and I almost cried. So, yeah, I really wanted to like jump out of that car, slam the door and just run off, but I didn't. I took everything in me to turn and say, thank you, good night. And it's so unfortunate because besides the crazy driving, like it was actually a good day. Like he's a nice guy.